I had someone reach out to me just a few minutes ago, asking about a comment I made recently regarding stem cell transplants, and I've actually been meaning to make a video about this for quite some time. I think stem cell transplants for multiple myeloma patients are probably one of those controversial issues, and all I can do is give you my thoughts on it. I mean, obviously, being the founder of the Multiple Myeloma warrior community and being involved in patient advocacy, I talk to people all over the world, and those that believe in it, those that don't, and all I can do is share my experience and just the things that I've seen and what I think about it. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'll just tell you how I think about it. So first of all, I'll say that I was treated at UAMS in Little Rock, Arkansas, where they typically do tandem stem cell transplants. So I actually did 2 of them within, 90 days or so. A lot of times people ask me what that was like. And first of all, I'll say that with many things in life, what we make up in our minds is usually worse than what the experience is. And I would say that that's accurate for the stem cell transplants. All this happened really fast with me, so I didn't get to hear a lot of stories or anything. They just said, hey, this is what you need to do, and I said, okay. I've been relatively successful in my life by surrounding myself with people that know way more than I do and letting them do their jobs. Not saying that's always the right choice, but it's the choice I made. I will tell you that I did hear some bad things that they told me, that they're obligated to tell me. I did connect with a few patients and that shared their experiences with me. And what I made up in my mind was not as bad as it was not nearly as bad what I made up in my mind and the actual transplant itself. I had very little sickness, nauseousness. I was expecting it to be much worse, in other words. It certainly wasn't pleasant. I got through it by reminding myself that this is just temporary and I have to get to the other side of it. And then a lot of times people ask me, well, what was that second stem cell transplant like? And knowing that I'd been through a lot and some very aggressive treatments and was weakened, I think most people would expect that second one to be worse. I will tell you that I've seen a lot of people say the exact same thing that I said, is that in many ways it wasn't as bad just because I knew what to expect. And I knew it was temporary. I will also say that here's my thoughts on whether people should do it or not. And I used to think everybody should do them, and that if you didn't, you were kind of crazy. But I will tell you, my mind's changed a lot on that. Not because of the effectiveness, but let me kind of explain. First of all, I see a lot of times people, they don't want to do the transplant because they've heard the horror stories or they've heard what could happen, and they decide not to do them out of fear. And I do think that that's probably a mistake. When it comes to stem cell transplants, there is no treatment that has the history of effectiveness. We have a lot of great new treatments, but they're not the magic bullet that a lot of people think they are or hope they are. Also, a lot of times people say, well, my doctors told me I'm only going to get 2 years of remission from a stem cell transplant. That's not right. There's nothing about that's right. There's so many factors that come in to the effectiveness of the transplant. And what I mean by that is there's all different kinds of multiple myeloma. There's multiple kinds. Some people's are super aggressive. Some people's isn't. I know people that have had stem cell transplants where they've been very effective and they got deep remission for a long period of time, for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, even more than 10 years. And also things that come into play was like, what was their age, how aggressive was it, is there multiple myeloma, are they high risk or low risk, did they do maintenance treatments after the stem cell transplant, and if so, what treatments did they do? So there's a lot of factors that come into that. And I know people that stem cell transplants didn't work for them hardly at all. I mean, they relapsed in less than a year. With all of these treatments, some work really well for some people and they don't work well for others. I know people that have gone through CAR T that relapsed in less than a year. And a lot of people are looking at CAR T as that magic bullet. I know also people that have done CAR T and they're going on 3 years plus with no other treatments. They're still in remission, and some of them had really aggressive version of multiple myeloma, and they were never able to come off of treatments of any kind. And then they did CAR T, and now they're not having to take any. I talked to somebody today that he has a very aggressive myeloma. And he went on, did the stem cell transplants, and he relapsed quickly, and then he went on Darzalex, and he relapsed quickly, and he went into a clinical trial and did a bispecific. That worked for a year or two, and then he relapsed on that. He did another bispecific, and now he's going on, I don't remember, 2 or 3 years with no other treatments, and he's doing fantastic. So we're very fortunate that we have all of these new treatments. I mean, I was diagnosed in 2016. I think Darzalex came out maybe in 2015 in the U.S. There's been many new treatments that have come out since then. But I also look at it as we only have a certain number of bullets to fire at this thing. And we know that stem cell transplants are very effective for some people. So, and when I say that, I mean, you've got hospitals like UAMS that have, I think, 35 plus years of history. And, they've been tracking this stuff a long time. I mean, I've personally interviewed Dr. Karina Patel, who's the head of the myeloma program at MD Anderson. She still believes that stem cell transplant is still the foundation of treatments. I've talked to many others that feel the same way. There are some out there that don't believe in it, though. Like I said, I just look at it as we only have a certain number of treatments to fire at this thing. I don't want to miss out on using one that has been proven effective for a lot of people. Now, who's it not right for? Well, that varies. I mean, a lot of opinions, but I think one of the reasons that my opinion changed somewhat is that it comes down to logistics. I was very fortunate that, I can work from anywhere because of what I do for a living, and I didn't have the logistical concerns. I have family that's with me and that could be with me during all that time. And some people don't have that. They don't have the support network that can be with them. They can't afford to be off of work for the time that it would require. They've got maybe young kids or grandkids that they're taking care of, So all those are things that kind of come into play in making that decision. And it's why I kind of changed my position. And now my position is that if you logistically can, I still think you should do it. I do know people that have not done it and they've done very well. I mean, there's also a lot of times people will say, well, I'll go ahead and collect my stem cells, but I don't want to do the transplant yet. I'll do it later if things get bad. And I understand that thought process. I'm not saying it's wrong. I am saying that sometimes that's not a viable option because maybe another health condition comes along. All this stuff's hard on our bodies, obviously. But somebody all of a sudden becoming diabetic, somebody in a common thing is heart issues coming up. And now all of a sudden, you've been fighting this thing for a couple of years, you're weakened, now you got extra health issues, and your body just can't handle doing a stem cell transplant. It happens. And so that's something to keep in mind, that it may just not be an option in the future. And right now, you're younger, you're maybe stronger, and you don't have any other health issues, so you can do it. Like I said, logistically, if you can, I think you should. But I do know people that, like I said, that didn't do it, and and they've done well. There is no right or wrong answer here. It's just a personal decision, and all of it is a roll of the dice. I hate to say it that way, but there's a lot of truth to it. You don't know if it's going to work or not, and how long it's going to work. It's the same with all of these treatments, So I'll go back and say, once again, it was hard. It wasn't as hard as I made it up in my mind. I think that can probably be said for all of these treatments and all the things that we go through. It's pretty much accurate for many things in life. We worry about things and just make up in our mind all this stuff that might happen, and then it never does. I've had to learn that lesson the hard way, and both through this and through business and many aspects of my life. It was actually my youngest son that kind of brought that to my attention, so I don't worry nearly as much as I used to. But anyway, I hope this helps you, and it's if you can do it, I think you should. And but if you can't, because of the logistic issues, you just don't have somebody there for you, and you do have to have somebody there to do a stem cell transplant. You just have to. It's hard. And, if you can't take the time off of work and financial, those are things that you have to think about. So anyway, I hope this helps you a little bit, and I'd love to hear, see your comments. I'm putting this on the Facebook group, Multiple Myeloma Warrior Community, that I founded in 23. It's 11,000 members as of right now. It's December of 26. So, it's a great community. We try to love and support each other. And I'm also putting this on YouTube and some other social media sites and things like that. So maybe it can help some people. But if you would share this with other people that are going through this and trying to make that decision about the stem cell transplants, and maybe it'll just help them a little bit. So anyway, God bless and love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.